Alright, hey everybody, Jared Napolitano, JNAP here, marketing advocate for the Players Committee and one of the tournament directors for the 2022 Retro League, which is on GEMP, aka play.starwarsccg.org. It's where, if you're unfamiliar, you can play Star Wars customizable card game online for free in a variety of formats. I have a couple game replays here from this competitive Event 1, which was Premiere to A New Hope. Basically, any card that was legal as of April 1996 is legal in this format and event. So I got here one game from the 5th game out of 6 from partymcfly and aka Alex, and also game 6, which was the top table. In the game 5, it was a matchup of 3-1 versus 3-1, and in game 6, it was a matchup of 5-0 versus 4-1. So these are players who are doing well, who are pretty good in the format. The event was about 32, 34 players. We'll see what happens at table 6, but we weren't able to cover these live as they were happening, so we got these replays, and again, hopefully these entertain. Hopefully these are a good source of content for players that might like these formats, or we're hoping to get some deck lists up and available for these as well. So there's just more resources for this format in case there's future events or if people are just generally interested in the format. So I'll be checking the chat here and there. Not expecting a lot of viewers since this is a pretty impromptu stream, but expecting hoping more people watch it kind of after the fact on the YouTube channel. So in this, we'll jump right in here. We're a couple minutes in now. What is this? About 3 minutes in. And if you have any questions, comments, if you want to know how to join the league, forum.starwarsccg.org, and just look for the Retro GEMP format under League Championships, or I think it's under alternate formats actually, or you just shoot an email to marketing@starwarsccg.org, and I'd be happy to point you in the right direction. Alright, so let's get into the first of 2 games we're going to do. These are both from partymcfly's perspective. And we'll just start up. So he's dark side in this matchup, picks the starting location. We see Obi-Wan's hut, which is a pretty common one. I'm going to pause and press play, maybe even speed up at certain points, but just to kind of do a quick reset here. So he has his hand, he's got a couple of Victory Class Star Destroyers, Tonica Sisters. Probably means there's going to be an undercover. Presence of the Force, always a good card, and he's got 2/2/1 system locations. So that's a pretty decent hand. Imagine he's just going to deploy some locations and then draw. And just in case you're new to these streams, I mean, I'm no expert in this format by any means, but hopefully sometimes just being a third-party observer of a game, you can offer a couple pointers, and if you're a new or returning player and you learn a thing or two just watching these, that's success in my book, or if you're just generally entertained. So DarthCrumb, Chris, he puts out Mos Eisley and just draws. And there's a couple other streams as I pause here. There's 2 others I've done of these so far, also in this Game 5, Game 6 range of this event. So they're consequential games where you have a couple good players who are doing well in the event, and they are matching up against one another. So I think hopefully those are a little more appealing than, Game 1, or it might be some people that, maybe they're just new to the format, new to the game. You might see some more kind of questionable plays, which is totally okay. But just I think in terms of spectator value, I think it goes a little further when you see kind of these higher stakes games. And there's prizes in this league. There are some pretty cool rares, some minor sealed product of Star Wars CCG, some cool deck boxes, some Players Committee poker chips. And that reminds me, just real quick in the top right, we can see the 20th anniversary logo as the Star Wars CCG Players Committee is celebrating its 20th anniversary next month, about a month from now, to the exact 20-year date. But in general, just for the whole 2022 year, there's going to be a lot of different things going on to commemorate the Players Committee's 20 years of existence. So turn 2, partymcfly kicks off. He's got 10 Force active. Going to come down here with a Victory Class Star Destroyer to Kessel, which deploy -1 because of Kessel's game text. All ships deploy -1 there. And he's going to deploy Commander Praji for 2. Still doesn't have the required 4 ability to draw Battle Destiny, but this Darkside Kessel is pretty cool because it requires the opponent to have at least 6 ability to draw Battle Destiny, and it's going to probably be pretty hard for DarthCrumb to get 6 ability and a starship, with only 9 force active. So that's a pretty safe drain of 1, but Kashyyyk might have been a little more appealing as a drain of 2 that he could set up, but he would have had to spend 1 more force to deploy it. And right off the bat, we have Obi-Wan Kenobi and Obi-Wan's lightsaber to the hut for a cheap 2 force. 4 luck comes out. If counter cell displayed, may use 1 force. This is in the Jedi pack. Add 1 destiny to your total. Since altar played, may use 1 force. That's a pretty cool. It's not immune to altar, so it's an interesting card. I haven't seen it played. I'm not sure how much it was played back then. But yeah, that could probably be pretty helpful if that goes through, as long as it's not altered itself. So he moves Obi-Wan over to threaten a drain of 2, force drain of 2, draws a few cards, gets up to 13, both players activating 8 force. We're going to have a drain of 1 here at Kessel from partymcfly. He's got 3 starships, 2 characters, another location, which he's probably going to, maybe, well, I'm not sure if he's going to put Kefix out. You might not want to give up 2 more icons. It's going to also go to Kessel with that Victory Class Star Destroyer. This seems like a pretty conservative play. I would either just put the pilot there and then move it to Kashyyyk to threaten a drain of 2. All 3 of these systems are drain 2 liabilities if Lightside does go there. So I would probably be tempted just to put... these Praji and DS613 are only forfeit 3, so conceivably Lightside could come down, draw a Destiny 4, clear both pilots, 4 higher. He's got Gravity Shadow, but I would think he might want to start forcing the math and start putting damage of 2 through, but playing a little conservative here. So that's, and like I said, I'm not an expert in this format by any means. It will probably turn out to be the wiser path, I'm guessing. So Kefix gets tossed from hand. Dan's Boren off the top. The DRTORCH Hollow Game Board comes out. Color Slug as a hologram. I have never seen this card used. There's a virtual version in the open format now. Oh, this is the one where you may use 1 force to raise your ability. Raise your total power by 1. Interesting. But this is obviously going to the Hollow Game Board. It's going to threaten a drain of 2, or not 2, 1. Because this is, of course, a DRTORCH and hologram, and there's the DRTORCH rules in effect. And there we have our... This has been like every game I've streamed so far. The Tatooine Utility Belt. Power and forfeit +2. Goes on a Rebel or Alien on Tatooine. So it's beefing up Obi-Wan. Maybe this is the new... Or I shouldn't say the new. It's the old school super character. Nowadays, you'll see sometimes a Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight with Luke's Bionic Hand, which is a virtual card. Lightsaber proficiency, Luke's lightsaber, all that fun stuff. Alright, so a Jawa gets tossed from hand. Presence of the Force goes to Kashyyyk. So potentially setting up a drain of 3 here. He's going to deploy Evax and Black 2 to Kashyyyk. I'm going to bet he moves one of these, maybe both even, Star Destroyers, to Kashyyyk. Deploys DS612, or 3 rather. He's got that Gravity Shadow, which can threaten any kind of shenanigans I'm moving around. Utility Belts for the wins. Stop Circle is now complete. Okay, yeah, was that just strictly target power? That maybe makes more sense for the tech, because yeah, Circle is now complete. It's a pretty quick way, I guess, to get rid of Obi-Wan, but yeah, good point. Beefing up the power. Alright, so you have a Force Drain at the Hollow Game Board. Vader's lightsaber is tossed. And we're going to have a drain of 2 at Mos Eisley. And Darth Vader off the top. Death Star War Room off the top. Both players activating double digits here. Here comes Tantive 4. Potentially to contest Kessel. He's got Porkins. Nice. And he still doesn't have that 6, so probably 1 more pilot's coming out here. Do you get Battle Destiny? Yep. Nope. Figured Dan's not a pilot. He can start gambling though. Yeah, so neither player draws Battle Destiny, but he's going to get 1 battle damage through here. I wonder if that was a miscalculation by DarthCrumb, and he moves away, holds the Gravity Shadow, maybe just afraid of a sense or something, and probably figures that might be a little more helpful later game, if maybe he could track a Destiny to ensure that it works. The Gravity Shadow is an interesting card for rulings. I know it automatically targets the highest ability pilot, which in this case would be Jack, or the permanent pilot. They're both 2. And we have an altar against the presence, yeah. And Party lets it go through. It doesn't burn his sense. Maybe doesn't want to get involved in a sense alter war. But wonder why he didn't try to fight that. But yeah, I'm sure he probably has his reasons. Like I said, he probably didn't want to, since he only has one sense. He's got an altar too, though, so I probably would have tried to personally, but maybe there's a reason for it. Obi-Wan's lightsaber gets tossed from hand, sense off the top for light side, Han Solo off the top, so dark side gets 3 damage through. Light side's threatening 5, but that's probably not going to remain. We have black 4 going into the cargo hold of the Victory class Star Destroyer. Let me check the chat real quick. Yeah. So black 4. Those Victory class Star Destroyers are pretty popular because there's just 2 less deploy off the Imperial class, and we're gonna have this Victory class block this drain of 2. I would probably want to. That Kashyyyk drain, I would think you'd want to. All right, so he's gonna put all his ships at Tatooine, which is a lot of power. But isn't Lightside just gonna run away here? Like, okay, maybe you have the gravity shadow, but maybe he's trying to build some senses and altars to back it up if Lightside then tries to just sense the gravity shadow. One thing I haven't seen in any of these games, I think, or maybe I've seen in 1 or 2. I'm surprised there's not more barrier, Imperial barrier, Rebel barrier played. I guess again maybe they're just sense fodder in a lot of instances. But there was one last game. I'm sorry. I think DRTORCH has been playing them. Yeah, I take that back. There have been a few, but I'm surprised there's not like 2 or 3 kind of floating around. All right, so we have some Force Lost. We have the Wager from Figure and Dan. Presence of the Force off the top, DS613 as I pause it here. partymcfly's got a nice, healthy 12-card hand here, including a Vader, a U3PO. He's got a Tentacle and a Force save to play that Tentacle. Is this that droid that adds to... Yeah, okay. A New Hope adds 2 to hyperspeed. That would enable his Victory-class Star Destroyers to chase or just move around generally. Lightside gets to 8 with their Figure and Dan destinies, and Darkside has a chance here maybe to tie or beat it. Nope, it's not going to do it. So Lightside's going to randomly retrieve, or Lightside's going to randomly retrieve 1 Force here. And it's going to be Han Solo, who happened to be the top guard. So out comes the Cantina. So Lightside can start setting up this powerful Mos Eisley shuffle, or Cantina shuffle, whatever you want to describe it as. Mechanic, 10 of 4 is going to run away. Here comes the Gravity Shadow. Let's see what happens here. Probably a 1 sense. Dark has a bunch of things they could play. They tentacle the sense, so that's good for him. That now, yeah, that made sense, I guess, because he wanted to make sure that he didn't have the Force for the tentacle last turn, and now he's got the altar, and now he's in looks like a position to get the Gravity Shadow through. Let's see what he draws. He needs to draw a 2 really to have anything substantial happen, and he draws a 0. Oof, that's brutal. So now nothing happens, right? Yeah, no result. You either want it to be equal or greater. Equal, just the whole ship dies. Greater, it has to stay there, which would facilitate a beatdown. So that's a bummer for Party. He was probably really not happy with how that went. Would be my bet. Yeah. So hang on 1 second. I may need to pause this. Okay, sorry, I had to step away for a minute. So I think we just missed a little bit before I hit pause. So Force Strand 1 at Tatooine, large moisture farm goes away. Vader deploys, out comes the Rebel barrier. Of course I jinxed myself saying that the barrier. I didn't see a lot of barriers. Darkside's going to play a sense of the barrier, that gets altered. And that's going to go through because sense is unique. So Dark can't play a sense back on Lightside sense. So that actually hurt him, but it helped him. Well, it didn't ultimately help him because the Gravity Shadow missed. But Alright, Garindon comes down to Obi-Wan's hut as a spy. Tonica Sisters are a spy as well. R3T6 is going to add some hyperspeed, not that he needs it. All these systems are pretty close together. And yeah, he's going to get into this pattern, I guess, of just chasing around this Tant 4 and keep blocking the drains, but you know, while Darkside can get it, you know, a drain of 1 presumably through until DarthCrumb may put out another starship. Conquest is lost off the top to the drain at the hollow game board. We got a Figure and Dan wager. Hujix, not a good start for light side. But of course they get 3 Destiny, whereas Darkside only gets 2. Another, so two DRTORCH so far, Mantelian Savret. I don't know if anyone's out there has played. There's like a video game type thing where you put like the goggles on basically and play, and you could do like hollow game board fighting. I've had it. I played it. I kind of shelled it. I forget what it's called. It's what's the name of it? Some type of Star Wars game I got a couple years ago for Christmas. But all right. So anyway, we have a tie, so no retrieval happens for either player. Luke Skywalker comes out. DarthCrumb's going to pop the Core Slug from his hand, deploy it on the table. So this is interesting. So now we can use that to beef up his power for each unit of ability. So presumably he could spend 6 and still draw Battle Destiny. Gift of the Mentor played to add 2 Battle Destiny. Darkside, hold on. Darkside plays Sense against the Gift of the Mentor to try to stop the 2 Battle Destiny. And of course, so now Sense is unique, right? So that's going to be the only Sense that can go through this turn. But we have 4 Luck kicking in, and he's going to use 1 Force to exclude Vader. So now he's got to pick someone else to target. I've like never seen this happen, but I think it's a pretty helpful thing, especially when there's only, oh wow, it still goes through, gets a 0. So this time he draws a 0, and it is helpful to him. So he does get the sense through on an ability 2, highest ability character. That's pretty cool. Again, this is a 3-1-3-1 matchup, so this is basically to determine who can kind of get towards the top table after this round concluded. And this happened last week, about a week ago. Alright, so the Battle Destiny, or Weapon Destiny here from Obi-Wan is a 3 and a 2. That's going to miss. Another DRTORCH and Grimtosh, which we've seen lots of Monarchs and Grimtoshes in these streams of Pan H or Premiere to New Hope. Lightside draws a 5. That's going to crack Vader's immunity, so he's going to have to go lost. And Vader's going to draw a 1, and it's going to be +1. He's going to have to draw at least, oof, that hurts, because now both of Lightside characters are immune. Luke's immune less than 3. So this is probably like a pretty bad scenario for Darkside. It could have been worse if he didn't get that sense through on the gift of the Mentor, although he does have a Gick in his hand, but definitely loses some board position there with Lightside now able to do the shuffle, so you can shuffle Obi over and drain for 2 and 2, and then just shuffle Luke over to consolidate. All that for free. Grappling Hook gets tossed off of hand to that drain. So Garindon's going to get that drain 3 through at Obi-Wan's hut, right? Revolution off the top. Krelling Corvette is lost. Another Revolution, right? Or am I going crazy? Big drain of 3. Luke's Landspeeder. Red 6. And another Luke. U3PO is going to come out to block that drain. So that'll take that down to... He's only looking at 2 damage. I'm sure he can chase around... this Tantive. It's becoming a pretty loaded Victory class Star Destroyer. That's going to move, I'm sure, over to Kessel and block that drain of 2 from Lightside. Let's see, I might be able to speed this up a little bit as there's just move phase. We got Ties unembarking. So he leaves black 3 there with his now the ship's matched up pilot with the 613. That draws Battle Destiny, unable to otherwise. Adds 1 to maneuver. Doing lots of embarking and ship docking, and this is funny. So he's going to move, I'm sure, probably the loaded one over there. These are just floating? That can happen? I didn't even know that could happen. Disembark, so he's just got a couple floating unpiloted Ties there. Of course, they don't have their power, but I didn't realize you could do that. You can't deploy it, obviously, that way. You need a ship. You can't just deploy a ship without a pilot straight to space, but I guess... once they're there, you can unembark it. Alright, so predictably, Looks like we got a revert. Sometimes those break replays, so good to see that didn't happen. That's actually been the first revert I've seen. And this would be what, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is like the 5th game of this format I've seen. We're gonna do 6 total. Alright, so Force Strand 2 there, Devastator off the top, Alter off the top. We got another Figure and Dan Wager, not a good start again for light side. They're drawing a 1. And then, is that R2? Yeah, R2 is a 5. And Commander Vanden Willard. So another total of 8. I guess it's just over time there's been a lot of Destiny creep, so yeah, seeing Destiny's this low isn't crazy, I guess, for this format when there's only so many good cards that are high Destiny and playable. Alright, out comes the Towels here as light side wins, randomly retrieved Luke. Towels is going to go down to block the Obi-Wan's Hut Drain, and Obi-Wan stays there. So this is either like a very calculated gamble from light side just to leave these, or he's got like a Hujix. But with only 5 cards in hand and only 2 or 3 new cards from the last turn, just beggars, lost from hand. Don't underestimate our chances, lost from hand. Oh, excuse me. Tonica Sisters, undercover. Alright, so that's going to block that drain. So dark side is covering up these drains. Light side, I guess, would have Sorry About the Mess to deal with these undercover spies. DarthCrumb is going to let Chlorslug kick in to add 1, which I guess he didn't even have to do, right? Because Talos is forfeit 4. Raise total power to 2. I feel like that was a wasted force, unless I'm missing something. He could have just lost Talos to cover 4, right? Yeah. Alright, who knows? Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe for some reason the Talos' forfeit was reduced. Alright, so Garinden then gets shuttled up to the Victory Class Star Destroyer for some more forfeit fodder, I guess. I'm just respecting the fact that light side just drew a bunch of cards. Activating 12 force will have 15, and dark side then gets a badly needed replenishing of its hand. Got 2 senses, Monarch, Admiral Mahdi, another black 4, Destiny 2. That's interesting, 2 black 4s. I guess because it could deploy as a react, right, to same system as another tie to any battle. And dark side draws the Death Star, which is also kind of interesting. He didn't start it. I guess there's so much Tantive that it becomes a liability pretty quickly. And in this matchup, it probably wouldn't have, because he's got a lot of space. He could have afforded to block it, but okay, neighboring leads. Okay, getting interesting here. But real quick there, I'm a little surprised he started. What was the starting location? It was Kessel. Surprised he didn't start Death Star. Yeah, it's liability, but it's also such a strong 3-0 start. Alright, so Obi's going to move over there. Only cost a force, which is good, but he's now going to get a drain of 1 through. Interesting. I feel like I personally might have held on to that neighborhood for another point of this game, but especially if he's only getting a drain of 2 through. We might see a double agent here, which has the Tonic Sisters on it. Because, yeah, that's another way to get rid of undercover spies. 2 spies at the same location, so it's the same thing as Navar Yalnau, which not a card that pops up in open play, even though now it's actually shielded in open play. There's a shield to have it. Alright, so we got a little Sense Alter War over the Navar Yalnau, and Darkside's going to draw 4, so that's going to make Leia lost. So I don't know if he was doing that before Lightside could get their double agent through. If so, that worked pretty well for Darkside. But now he doesn't have any force to move. He's got both those locations. Right, he's got a battle here after Wedge came down. Darkside draws a 2. Darkside's going to win the battle by a force. Both players need to... Oh, never mind. KFC kicks in, so Lightside wins by a force, and Lightside does not need to lose any cards. Yeah, KFC's been up there for a while. Reduce the text. Alright, so now, and then it's got, Porkins, Figurin, Wedge, and KFC are all on that. Alright, Darkside gets a drain through. Life force counts. Looks like Darkside's at 16, 24, 28, so light side's up a little bit. Here comes a Monarch to the table. It's going to get altered. Altered? Sense? This is interesting. I don't know how all these rules work. This is like, I'm sure this is something that's probably gone through like the Gemp bug system and been hashed out. But so he deploys Monarch to the table, and you could sense it as an interrupt, even though it's being deployed as like a thing, as like a noun to threaten a drain. But then Lightside can respond instantly. I guess if like Mantalian Savrip went there, it could be altered, even if it was going there. It's kind of an interesting interaction. All right, so he's gonna do it again. There's a revert. I guess maybe DarthCrumb asked to not play his sense. Maybe it's like a weird, maybe just click too fast. But this is interesting that he also put a Gick down there. And of course the rule, I'm pretty sure, is you can pick it up from hand any time, but whoa, another Sense Alter War on this Rebel Barrier. Darkside looks like, so that works out in favor of Lightside. So Mahdi cannot battle. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, interesting put the Gick there. You might need that at some point. Well, probably not. Probably not anytime soon. He's got a lot of cards in space. This is becoming like a Doom. You know, people complain about Doom stacks nowadays, but this looks like a pretty serious Doom stack that we have here at the Kashyyyk system. Was that what it was, Adam? Maybe it was a bug that allowed him to play the sense, and they said, "Hey, that's kind of ridiculous." That they must have realized that it was wrong or off, and then they reverted. So that's good sportsmanship. It's always good to not have people taking advantage of known bugs, or even if they're not known until the immediate time. But maybe they talked, or maybe they talked with chat, or figured out something else, or checked the rule book. Or for whatever reason, they said, "Hey, let's not do that." So that's good. All right, so Darkside's gonna draw a few cards. Darkside has all of its ship at Kashyyyk, and we have a concession. It's kind of weird. So right now the board state, that's kind of surprising. So 20 versus 12. So Lightside's up 8, and Life Force and they have the same amount in hand. Darkside is threatening 2 damage at the Hollow Game board. Lightside's threatening 1 damage at Obi-Wan's hut. Presumably Lightside's just going to run away here. Oh, so then Dark will get another drain through. And maybe Lightside just figures, hey, I'm going to start gradually losing board control, and I don't have... Maybe they didn't have anything to get rid of the undercover spies. Maybe they didn't have any other space. For whatever reason, they thought Chris here as DarthCrumb might have just thought the game was getting away from him and conceded, which, yeah, to each their own to make that assessment, but thought this was getting kind of interesting. But yeah, maybe it just would have been... okay, alright, so congrats. So Party moved to 4-1 with this. And I have the game 6. So this was, so now Party's going to be light side, so he switches. So again, so this is at what? We're at 29 minutes in, 30 minutes in. This is game 6, so at this point, DRTORCH was 5-0, partymcfly was 4-1. There was another 5-0, which I discussed in the other stream. I got the game 6 from him, Lyndon, Idea Track. So this was the top table, and yeah, all right. So light sides here, they got plenty. So this is interesting just to see all the possible locations, starting locations. So these got 1, 2, 3 Twix, 1 system, a Hollow Game board, and the Mos Eisley Shuffle. All right, that doesn't necessarily. He might have two copies of those as well. So Obi-Wan's hut, Death Star War Room, not shocking. Starting locations. Of course, again, just to reiterate, this is constructed format, so players had, excuse me, and they have access to any card they want. It's not like you have to accumulate them. So any player could start Death Star if they wanted to, but of course that makes Lightside go first. So I would think pretty much most games, the starting location for Darkside is either the Death Star or the Death Star War Room as a 2-0. But yeah, you're trading off letting Lightside go first with the Death Star, and plus you have that big liability for Tan of 4 to go there. All right, so Jundland Waste, Darkside Mos Eisley goes out. That's another interesting play we've seen a few times. Of it could be pretty powerful for Darkside just to hold their Mos Eisley, because Lightside's Mos Eisley is such a strong card to do the shuffle. that you may want to hold it, but at the same time, DRTORCH is doing it. He probably maybe he's running a second, or it's just a risk he's willing to accept that he'd rather get the activation early for a 2-1 location and risk and deal with the shuffle in other ways. So Vader comes out against Luke, blocks the drain of 2, no force left to battle, so they're just going to stare at each other. Lightside has 6 force to work with. This could get interesting. Lightside's got a pretty decent hand here, you would think. R2 comes down for the forfeit fodder. Deploy 3, undercover. So he's going to be running away. That's interesting. I'd be tempted to just put, like, either Savrip. No. What about, like, the utility belt for force and Han for 3? Initiate battle. Although, what would he have? Yeah, you have power 8 for 6. He's getting +1. Yeah, I guess you don't really want to mess with Darth Vader in this format unless you got some certainty on what destiny you're going to draw. All right, so Luke's going to run away, but Luke's not going to draw Battle Destiny here at the Junlin Waste. Darkside's Drain is blocked here by R2. And he's just going to chase Luke there to not allow a Drain of 1 to go through. Lightside's going to follow with R2. That's interesting. So this is just going to allow Lightside to, run away maybe and rebuild their hand. And we'll see what happens here. DRTORCH draws to 12. Respects the Grimtosh, which of course Party McFly has in his hand right now, as we can see. Just be certain, this is from Lightside's perspective. We don't know exactly what's in Darkside's hand, but that's just how Gemp replays work, in case you're unfamiliar with them. Right, so he's got quite a mercenary, another Han. Savrip didn't go out, probably because he's only activating 5 force, first of all. Second of all, he's got bigger priorities. I guess. Alright, so Vader's going to chase. Looks like they're just going to keep chasing each other around here. Got another location come out. Oops. Alright, and DRTORCH draws right through the soft barrier of 12. Probably a Grimtosh here, but he's only got 1 altar to back up a sense. And this is the thing, like, I guess once he goes to 13, you might want to play the Grimtosh to prevent him from drawing more cards and presumably finding a sense, but he probably has a sense even at 13 in there. So Party McFly would have an altar to cancel the 1 sense, but if DRTORCH had another altar or sense, that would be a losing proposition for Party McFly. So I guess he's just kind of weighing the odds and saying, hey, I'm probably not going to get this Grimtosh through, so let me just hold it. Luke runs away again, so they're doing this game back and forth. We got double agent, grappling hook that he draws, saves 3 force. Oof, lost Monarch. That's going to grab both Hans. Womp womp. So, use 3 force, lose a card, cause the opponent to lose 2 pretty decent cards. We have the same situation here. DRTORCH sitting with twice the hand size. Party McFly. So DRTORCH had 6-0 on the line. Okay, here comes the Grimtosh. And it goes through. Very interesting. So, of course, he has the sense. So this is just interesting how this format works, where it's just a lot of like, I could sense this back, but is it worth it? Wait a minute, what the heck's going on here? He's going to lose 2 senses, 2 altars, and 2 Vaders? Why didn't he sense it? I guess he was afraid. Was he kind of anticipating, hey, a tentacle altar type thing? Because, yeah, wait a minute. So let's see, how would that work? So if he sensed it, party tentacles it, makes sense unique, alters it, and then you can't play any more senses after that. So I guess if DRTORCH was saying, I mean, but he doesn't know that he's got a grappling hook and an altar. I feel like that's worth the gamble just to see, like, in your, I guess at that point, 7-card hands. Okay, we get a revert. Okay, so maybe this is where, so maybe DRTORCH just forgot to sense it. Yeah, okay, here we go. All right, but let's see what happens, kind of what I was predicting. Does he grappling hook it? Yep. Grappling hook to grab it. plays the altar, and I think he's going to get it through then. Wait a minute. Yeah, light side gets it. So then, all right, so he doesn't toss the 2 senses, but one gets grabbed. He keeps the other. So two evaders, two. All right, so whatever the heck happened there, it definitely was not as bad. So yeah, so grappling hook, sense gets stacked. DRTORCH plays altar on his own sense. Is that what happened? To save it? Interesting. Yeah, I think that's what happened. Because I was, unless I'm, again, apologize, I'm not an expert in this format, but I think that's kind of what happened. Especially if it was getting, if the sense was getting grabbed anyway, he played the altar on his own sense. Yeah. Interesting. All right, so then we have the shuffle again. Light side is going to, follow with R2. And he's going to draw a few, go back up over 13. I wonder, I haven't seen, maybe we have. I guess Hell to Pay and What Are You Trying to Push on Us are just such expensive deploys. They're 3 force in a game where, in an era where force is just so precious. Nowadays in the open format, you're like activating like 12 force on like turn 2 usually. Usually around 14 by turn 3, definitely by turn 4. All right, so Obi-Wan goes to his hut for just 2 force. The infamous Tatooine utility belt never misses a game here. And now he can, I guess, run away with Luke, maybe reinforce with Obi. Now he's only got 1 force. Is he going to draw it or leave it for R2 to? Yeah, he's just going to pass. So big disparity here in hand size, 19-5. Here comes an Ellis and draws another Ellis. So that's going to be 4. He doesn't have the 2 force to play the Quite a Mercenary. If you are someone who has been playing in active, or not active, you're playing in the open format the past few years, there was a very, very, very famous Quite a Mercenary played at the 2019 World Championship final between Bastian Winkelhaus and Brian Mischke. It was I Want That Map. Brian was playing his light side, or dark side in game 1. Bastian was playing his old allies. Got a Quite a Mercenary through, and really just totally tilted that game. It tilted Brian, I think, a lot. He lost that game by like 25-30 and quickly conceded game 2 after he just didn't have like a great hand to come back. But that was a pretty pretty memorable Quite a Mercenary moment. And unfortunately, Michigan's a good guy, really good player. He hasn't been playing a lot lately. He did play some after that, but hopefully that isn't the reason why. That was a tough break. That was crushing. But that was Bastian Winkelhaus's 3rd World Championship. It was in Germany, so kind of on his home turf, back in 2019. But yeah, that was streamed. That's on the YouTube channel as well. So, all right. So anyway, we had the Ellis Hellrot. We got Vader come over. We got a swing, hits Luke, who loses his Tatooine utility belt, gets operated on by Dr. E. Still a very strong mechanic to this day. So wait a minute. So there's like 6-7 different counters for Dr. Evazan, and the Dr. Evazan and Ponda Baba combo card that came out 4 years after this, maybe 5 years. We have the I Have You Now. Why didn't he play the I Have You Now first? I guess he didn't. Yeah, Obi's just got he doesn't have his lightsaber. Wouldn't it make more sense to play the? Yeah, wouldn't it make more sense to play the I Have You Now first to get the 2 Battle Destiny instead of 1? Unless he just didn't want to risk any funny business. I'm not sure what funny business could happen in a battle at this point that would have risked that operation happening. But regardless, DRTORCH draws 2 3s, which become 4s. Total Battle Destiny 8. There's going to be no overflow here. Light side just draws a Battle Destiny of 2, which is going to get rid of Evazan. And this is going to be a pretty good board swing for DRTORCH here. Obi-Wan goes lost. And the second Tatooine utility belt of the turn hits the lost pile. Vader moves over to Obi-Wan's hut. Pretty cool in this era that you don't have to worry about simple tricks and nonsense or the light side equivalent of Community Big Coward. Actually, if anyone's paying attention, let's do the sticker book. So this might be, if you're just tuning in or not familiar, but bottom line here is if you're watching, the Players Committee has prizes for basically tuning in, being a active spectator for different Players Committee programming of Star Wars CCG. So what you got to do here, I'm just going to name a card. I'm going to name R2D2. So send an email. I'll type this in the chat. So token, if you're watching it, token is R2D2. Send an email. Give Dan some more work. So CCG.org. Say you were watching Hope competitive. And provide your name. Yeah, so R2D2, send an email to holotheater@starwarscg.org if you're interested in getting some prize support. This is explained. I guess I could put this in the YouTube description. I'll put the forum post that explains all the different aspects of the program. But basically, you get these cool stickers and you get these unique foils of virtual card slips, which are full slips, which are pretty neat. Maybe you're an old school player, you never played the virtual card ever, you don't care. But maybe if you are an active player, I keep saying active. I want to say open, like an open format player who's playing current game, as opposed to like an old school player who kind of exclusively plays these older formats, which to each their own. That's totally cool. But yeah, you'll be more familiar with the virtual card. So let's do a sticker book giveaway here at minute 43, especially people who've been tuning in. R2D2 is the token for the 2022 prize support program of the sticker books, and I'll put some details in the post. All right, so Mantalian Sabrip goes to the game board. Alter comes out. I think this is the bug that Adam just mentioned. I don't think this should be able to happen. So maybe if partymcfly had this happen in the last game, maybe it was just I was making some inferences. Okay, so maybe Party was like, hey, that's a bug, you can't do that. Or maybe DRTORCH was like, oops, I didn't, it's kind of like a trigger. I thought you were deploying it to the table. I wanted to immediately alter it, which would be fine. But deploying it to, and that, I imagine that's probably something that's pretty hard to code. That's like, not that I know anything about coding, but I would think there's, opponents triggered to be able to alter something that's deployed, and where you're kind of deploying to the table versus differentiating deploying to the table versus deploying to a particular site, because that's also quote unquote table, I guess. That's probably a pretty interesting differentiation to make. And by interesting, I mean difficult coding wise. All right, drain of 4 coming through here. Lose grappling hook, Krelling Corvette, wedge, figure and dance, scanning crew comes out. Leia's gonna go to the use pile. And he gets to know exactly what's in Lightside's hand. Sees that what? Why is he playing? Why did he do that? Oh, all right, another revert. Okay, that's a nice revert from partymcfly because. Oh, okay. So, all right, he wants to put him to the game board. By him, I mean Monarch. I don't know if it's a him or her, whatever it might be. I guess characters have gender in Star Wars CCG. I don't know if DRTORCH do, or would there ever possibly be a reason for that. All right, so Darth Vader moves over to the Jundland Waste. Now he can run away from R2D2. What happened there? That he used the Force. Did the light side just not save any there? Probably not. partymcfly uses 1 Force. Oh, I guess he moved R2 over, and then okay, so he just dodged it. So that'll be a drain of 3, which I guess is a little bit better than a drain of 4. But Party looks like he's, I want to say he's facing an uphill climb, but there's still a lot of Force face down. So we have a battle here, 1 battle damage. I guess this is something that a trade you just make if you're dark side, or you're like, I'd rather just lose 1 battle damage versus a Force drain of 2. So it's just simple math, I guess. That it's the lesser of 2 evils, but of course there's a risk that light side, like if they put Grimtosh down, and if you're not familiar with the DRTORCH rules, not that I'm an expert on them, but there's not too many things I know. Their destiny numbers, their deploy, their forfeit, their ability, basically. If you have, I guess, a total above 4, I think you draw a destiny. Pretty sure. I don't know if it's technically called a battle destiny, probably. But, and maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I should check in the rule book, starwarscg.org/rules. AR 20, I guess it's AR 2022 now, the advanced rulebook. I should do a quick control F and see another mana comes out, 9 unique. Control F on DRTORCH rules. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll have a battle here. Yep, so he gets a Destiny. Uses 1 Forge at the Imperial Hollow table. I was calling it the Hollow game board. That's the light side. Draws a 0. Oof. So light side can now peel a card and it can deploy its DarthCrumb and fight back and get a Battle Destiny. So gonna get some spicy fights here at the Imperial Hollow table, I think. Alright, party activates 6. DarthCrumb goes to the Hollow table as predicted. Gift of the Mentor. Interesting play to fetch a lightsaber, but he doesn't have any characters in hand. And we got a Sense Alter Tentacle. Alter gets grabbed. See, like, I feel like that's kind of an awkward... So now he just... Whoa. Alright, so he's going to pull the Jedi lightsaber. Looks like he's got a lot of nouns in his reserve deck. Starships, characters, locations. I wouldn't consider locations nouns, but not a lot of interrupts. Only, what, 4 red cards in his whole reserve deck out of 26 cards, because he's got 4 in his hand. Probably a handful in his lost pile. Luke Skywalker drawn, so pretty low Destiny. Reactor Terminal. So that's actually bad for light side, because now they gotta lose Sabrip to cover the 3. I shouldn't say bad. Now they have a stalemate here. Okay, cool. I don't know what I was thinking. Alright, so they just have 2 and 2. Well, it is bad if Darkside has another DRTORCH. They can go fight there, draw a Destiny, and overflow. Poor DarthCrumb. There's no Hujix in... And again, the DRTORCH rules I should know. Is there... He's not getting prompted for it, I think. Because he's losing a drain of 3, Alter, Yavin Ruins. Scanning Crew comes out. Leia Organa was also lost. Still no characters, as DRTORCH can now see. Tarkin comes out to Mos Eisley. Presumably, he can just play this loose, just knowing. And he doesn't have any force to move R2 over, so. It's looking. Tides definitely continue to turn in favor of. I shouldn't say turn. The momentum favors DRTORCH here for sure. He's going to get drain of 4 through. He knows that there's no risk of another DRTORCH coming down to join the DarthCrumb and beating down on his Monarch. I think, what's the rule, I guess? Again, maybe I need to, that's what I went on a tangent here. Sometimes it's prompted to get picked up, and he did pick up the Clorch. Like, I guess if you control it, maybe it is. If you control the Hollow table or the DRTORCH game board, you can just pick the card up from hand. I don't know if you have to spend force equal to the Destiny to take it back into hand. partymcfly draws a bunch. He's at 13. Still not a single character. Plays Bish Shuffle to get under the 12, I guess. Bish Shuffle, but yeah, there's a combo card for it, and now that came out in Reflections too. But shuffling your opponent's reserve deck, especially late game, can be a very game-breaking play. A lot of times I say, oh, I wish I had a Bish Shuffle right now, or I wish I had an Omnibox combo. Alright, so drain of 3 on top of the drain of 1 at Mos Eisley. Light side tosses its Mos Eisley. That's probably just going to be a liability at this point. Another Scanning Crew. Looks like DRTORCH is just cycling Scanning Crews. He's got no fear of light side sensing because light side doesn't have any characters out. Danik Jericho, who was a virtual card a couple sets ago in Open. Pretty strong card. I shouldn't say pretty strong. Good, decent card. Vader goes over to the hut. And now Darkseid's starting a drain of 1, 2, 3, 4. And setting it up so that we got 1 Twix. We got Kashyyyk comes out. Maybe I'm not going to deploy Red Leader there. That's probably a short-term win. Oh yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's only a drain of 1. I'm thinking of the Darkseid Kashyyyk, which is a 4-strain +1. You must control to pick up. Pick up is free. Okay, thank you, Rusty. Yeah, that makes sense, because then you can't just like bail out of a battle. All right, and party concedes here. So let's see. So life force counts. Light side's at 28 if you combine. Dark side's at 38, so it's up 10. Definitely has board position. Light side does not. I can't tell what this last card is. I think it's an altar. Doesn't have a single useful character. Just R2, second copy of R2D2, and two empty starships. There's two starships without permanent pilots. By the time, this is where you just kind of realize you're in quicksand, because by the time he draws into actual characters that can fight Darkseid, it's just he's going to lose too many force and not be able to recover. And Darkseid's just going to find all its answers. It's going to find its senses, its altars, its more scanning crews. And this looks bad for party. So this is where DRTORCH will win. Just as we're going to wrap up here, big thank you to partymcfly, Alex P, for providing these two streams. Hopefully if you watch it live or watch it on a replay, you found this helpful, interesting. Any questions, comments, send to marketing@starwarsccg.org. Again, thank you to Steve Sanders, Leveranden, who's been co-running this event and the league with me. And hopefully, if we keep the momentum, if we get 30-some people in each of these 5 events within this league, as the Retro League travels through time. The next event's Premier to Hoth, which sign up is open for another 4 or 5 days. First weeks of that will be April 3rd. The matchups will go out, so people can sign up until April 1st. If you're watching this and you're like, whoa, that's pretty cool, I want to join that league, feel free to reach out. You can still sign up for sure. All right, so thanks everyone for tuning in. Take care, and may the force be with you. Bye.